Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Let's Paint. So today I have a Panther. Very excited about these. With the release of Epic Warpath, we're seeing armored vehicles for the Enforcers, which we haven't really seen prior. All we had was the Accuser Interceptor, which we'll get to that eventually. But it's nice to see an armored vehicle. The Panther serves a multi-role for them. It is their APC, their main battle tank, their anti-air tank, and their artillery platform. So you get 18 of these in your starter box, and we're going to use this one here to go through my paint process for them. So let's knock it out. I'm going to start out dousing the model with a slightly thinned down Payne's Gray wash, as is standard for all of my Enforcers. The model was primed black, based Payne's Gray, zenithalled with white blue. All of this is covered in more detail in the Enforcer Operative video a few back, so if you want to see that step, please pop back and see that. But for now, we're just going to get this based up with our wash so that our details start popping up and we get some nice shadow going on so we can begin applying our base tones. With our wash dried up, we're going to go ahead and start applying some Payne's Gray as a base tone to several areas across the model. Next up is our black red. I mean, if you've watched any of these, the process is pretty much repeated over and over. And if this is getting boring, I guess the views will tell me, and hopefully you guys will too. But I wanted to make sure we went through this, as it is a fundamental unit for the Enforcers moving forward in Epic Warpath. I don't use a lot of speed paints, but I have found myself just in love with using Grim Black for weapons, especially with the epic scale. Because I'm basing these with that blue-white zenithal, the Grim Black goes down really smooth and provides a nice, just natural and subtle highlight. It doesn't really require a lot of effort to go back and bring up the edges on it, because it does its job well enough. Now we're going to take just a little bit of blue-white mixed into some Payne's Gray and provide just an edge highlight on our Payne's Gray portions of the model. With the blue-white out on the palette, we're going to do the same thing to the rest of the white hull areas of the model. Now this is an optional step. You really don't need to do it if you don't want to. I like to get a little bit on the edges just because it sharpens up the details. And it really kind of pops on the tabletop, even from the 3-foot area, which is where you want it to be. You want to make it really show up. And this is just a subtle little highlight that's very bright and does a lot of work for you on the tabletop. With that blue-white still out on our palette, we're going to go ahead and fill in some dots in the back of the engines, the front viewport of the tank, the barrels of the weapons, and the little energy pods on the side, the kind of grab generator field for the tank. We're going to put this down now just so that we can go back with an effects paint later, just to get a nice vibrant blue glow off of those. So this is Army Painter Effects Paint Blue Flux, which is one of their airbrush lines, if I remember correctly. I apply it with a brush here. Since it's going over the white, it'll be a nice vibrant blue hue, and you can spill out of the sides a little just to cast that glow as a cheap and easy OSL. You could also get away with this just by mixing up your favorite bright color and glazing it down onto the surface. Just a nice thin glaze will get you a very comparable effect. Same deal with the viewport on the tank. In this case, I'm using transparent red by Pro Acryl, but just to get you a nice vibrant looking glowy front to the tank. One last round of highlights here. We're going to take a little bit of that blue-white that's still on the palette, mix it with a little bit of that black-red that's still on the palette. It'll give us kind of a darkish pinkish color, but we're going to use that just to edge highlight the red sections of the tank to give them a little more life and interest. So we're coming to the end of another Let's Paint. Thanks for taking the time to join me today. If you could be so kind, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, as it all helps grow the channel and expand the community of Epic Warpath players. Quick note here is you'll notice I did put a base on this tank. I put a base on all of my tanks because I use them to attach magnets for storage and travel purposes. Bases are not required, but in the case of vehicles, when I do base, I just do a black base on them. Either there's not enough of them to show to really constitute needing a bunch of details or texture paste, or I just prefer the look in cases like accusers where it's just a black stand and it's not very distracting from the model itself. Regardless, here we are at the end, and here's how our Panthers turned out.